Well, that was the quote from the whip herself when she said leverage. But I hear you on rising healthcare costs, but the immediate term, people aren't getting paid. 750,000 federal workers are on unpaid leave. 80% of the folks who work on our nuclear program are included in that figure. The Agriculture Secretary said there will be delays in food stamps for many of the 41 million people who rely on SNAP. And then at airports across the country, half of the flight delays, according to the Transportation Secretary, are because of staffing shortages. This pain is real now. So is there a point at which it becomes too great to justify continuing the shutdown?
Well, there is an urgent need to reopen the government, which is why we continue to demand that Republicans sit at the negotiating table so we can enact a spending agreement that's bipartisan in nature. That's what we've called for from the very beginning.
But the Republicans are saying they won't do that until you pass the funding bill, the clean funding bill that already passed the House. Why can't Democrats in the Senate get on board with that?
Well, we've made clear, and I'm thankful for the leadership of Chuck Schumer and Senate Democrats, that we were not going to support a partisan Republican spending bill that continues to gut the health care of the American people.
Haven't refused. Leader Thune said he'd even put that up for a vote if you open the government first. But next Saturday is the beginning of open enrollment. I mean, people are going to see what that bill is going to look like. Practically speaking, aren't you out of time here? Insurance companies have set these premiums in place. That's how they're already in the mail for people to open and see on Saturday. What becomes the strategy after November 1st if this shutdown it lasts that long?
Well, listen, we want to reopen the government, and we need to stand by our hardworking federal employees who are doing all that they can to make sure that taxpayer dollars are spent effectively and efficiently, even under the most adverse circumstances. We want to reopen the government. Now, in terms of health care, part of the reality is that tens of millions of people are already receiving notices in October that their premiums are about to skyrocket because of the Republican refusal to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credit. And by the way, they have had the opportunity, both House Republicans and Senate Republicans, repeatedly throughout the year to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, and they've consistently voted against it. That's why we need action, not simply words, a wing and a prayer promise from people who have tried to repeal the Affordable Care Act more than 70 different times since 2010.
But aren't the premiums already locked in here, or are you saying Republicans are right when you can make up for it at the end of the year with the tax credit?
The premiums are not locked in terms of the reality that if we can act legislatively and act now, we can extend the open enrollment period. We can push it back, and we can intervene as a Congress in order to actually protect the affordability of health insurance for tens of millions of people.
I'll ask you about something you said. You said Democrats, there are no election deniers on our side of the aisle. You said that back in January. But recently, you've been using the term rigged elections in reference to the upcoming midterms. Democrats were appalled when President Trump used language like that. How do you justify using that now? Doesn't that undermine faith for voters you need to show up?
No, I've been using that term in the context of Donald Trump's unprecedented effort to gerrymander congressional maps in a partisan fashion all across the country in order to rig the midterm elections and deny the ability of the American people to actually decide who should be in the majority as it relates to the House of Representatives.
You know, Democrats are also going through gerrymandering and redistricting.
No,